At this time, it's been our custom for many, many years to have a moment of silence for those serving here and abroad to return home safely to their families. And a roll call. Mr. Bierman?
Here.
Mr. Camerata?
Here.
Ms. Grover?
Here.
Ms. Hockman is out, and Mr. Carley.
Here.
Mayor, next on the agenda, we have the open public meeting statement. I'll read that aloud. In compliance with Chapter 231 of the Public Laws of 1975, notice of this meeting was given by way of 48-hour notice filed with the Township Clerk, the North-South Brunswick Sentinel, the Home News Tribune, and the Trenton Times, and posted on the bulletin board in the South Brunswick Township Municipal Complex on May 15th, 2024. Mayor, next on the agenda, we have the address from the floor. Is there a motion to open to the public?
So moved.
Second.
And we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Is there anyone from the public wishing to speak? You please come up to the podium and just state your name for the record.
I don't want to fight with anyone. Hi, my name is Sharon Ferraro. Couple of things. The handicap swing over here at Reichler is still broken. It's not clipping right. I called the township. They said they had the pieces. I have no idea what's happening. I was watching the kids try to clamp it in. They couldn't clamp it in. So we need to fix that. The other thing is we need to cut the wood so people who can't get to the swing close by, you know, they need to be able to take their wheelchair, crutches, whatever, and walk up to the swing so they can be a part of it. You have that wood and some people can't climb that wood. Everything, all the wood is around all the apparatuses. You got to make a walkway for wheelchairs. There's no reason why people have to stand here and their kids are up here somewhere and they can't get there. The other thing that we need, we almost had an incident, or signs that say all animals need to be on a leash. All dogs need to be on a leash. Somebody went to the park with a small dog without a leash, and I have a dog on a leash, and you know, if their dog's not on a leash, I can't control their dog. I can only control my dog, and that's not safe. But none of the parks have signs, and none of the parks say clean up after your dog either, and we really need to have signs for that as well. And then the last thing is, please don't put poison down when you do the fertilizer. There's no reason. We'll have green grass. Just keep mowing it. It's raining enough. Every time you turn around, it's raining. I mean, there's no reason for it. I don't know what's in the chemicals, and I don't want my dog or my daughter playing on the swings at that time because I don't know what you're putting down. And if it's not safe, I'd rather not have her go that week or something because it's in the ground now. Now there's nothing we can do about it. I'd rather see natural. We have enough money. We have enough taxes. There's no reason to put poison. Thank you. And the other thing is ultraviolet water. Yes, we have not heard back from the water department about somehow, some way what they did in Paris, France, is what they did was ultraviolet. They took their water wherever their plants are and they ultravioleted everything, and they have really good water. I mean, you can see it on TV how clean and clear and crisp it is, and we have our water. We really need to do something with our water. Ultraviolet, there's no reason why we can't do what they did. Learn that. It's on 60 Minutes. I think I saw that a while ago, and now people walk around with no more bottles. Now they walk around with nice water, and you can have water everywhere and save money and keep the plastics out of the landfill and everything else. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm going to ask Mr. Bidlack to book a meeting with Mr. Epps and Ms. Ferraro. So he's the fellow that haunches the maintenance of our parks. And so he can talk to you directly. And,
Yeah, I was here when their water department was here.
oh, no, I'm talking about Mr. Epps. He's parks and he's buildings and grounds.
For a swing.
That would be helpful because there's just, you guys did a great job in keeping the cedar chips where they belong. Unfortunately, we need one area where you can just cut on all ends because some people can't get up there, and I know she can't. It's hard enough now, but yeah, it would be nice if you can just cut the wood like this much and then you can just walk right in. And then you can go right up to the swing and push your grandchildren or your children or whatever, because some people can't step up those. It's a little step, I get it, but some people just can't.
All understood, and that's why we have Mr. Epps to maintain the parks. And so we'll put you directly in contact with Mr. Epps, and he's usually pretty responsive. There's no reason he wouldn't be in this case. So
No, he's good.
just call Donna up in the front office, Donna Pasaka.
Okay.
That's where she sits, that's why I put it that way. But call Donna Pasako up in the front office, and she'll put a meeting together with you and Mr. Epps.
Okay. The other question, is there a way to find out what you're putting down for fertilizer?
You can ask Mr. Epps.
Can I ask him?
I hate to say it, I don't have an idea.
We all should
Which is
know.
not unusual as I stagger through life. Whatchamacall, but Mr. Epps will have a pretty good idea. Because it's his job to have a pretty good idea.
We should all have that decision to make.
Well, talk to Mr. Epps.
You know, I get parents want the weeds cut. I hear you. I get it. Weed whack it. There you go. Cheaper.
Okay.
Is there anyone else from the public wishing to speak? Come on up.
Thank you.
You just
Thank
state your
you.
name also?
Yeah. Thank you for this opportunity. Actually, can you guys? Sure.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'm speaking to an issue that will be coming up during the discussion period. So this is the ordinance ID number 14705, adopting the redevelopment plan, block 99, then lot numbers. It's on Mapleton Road, Ridge Road, Route 1. I'm Simi Payne. My husband is Stephen Elston. We live on land adjacent to the site that's now owned by WRV developers. It was formerly the Princeton Nurseries. As abutters who will be very affected by the proposed changes in land use, we'd like to share with the council information that we request that you take into account before adopting the proposed redevelopment plan. We'd also like to state that we're very concerned about how the redevelopment designation has been rushed through without consultation with affected community members. That might be because the preliminary investigation omitted to mention that the site is bordered on 3 sides by residential communities, instead implying that it is in an industrial area. In fact, at a meeting on May 23rd, with representatives of the developers, a member of the Kingston Village Advisory Committee, the deputy mayor, another member of this council, and the town manager, nothing was said to the community members there to indicate that a redevelopment plan had already been prepared a month earlier. No indication. So tonight, we request your attention and serious consideration of our comments and concerns. We also request that you clarify the process that you intend to follow with respect to this site in the future, so that there's no future confusion. For example, we were waiting for the council to appoint someone to develop a redevelopment plan, expecting that then there would be some ensuing time. So if I can tell you a little bit, I only have a couple more minutes, if that's all right. If I can tell you a little bit about our concerns and the site. Is that all right?
Yes.
Thanks. Our land was called Hilltop Farm, and the land along both borders rises to the hilltop where our historic house and barn are. The 200-foot residential buffers for the development are populated on those hillsides by beautiful mature trees, which are the historic legacy of the original Princeton Nurseries. The south buffer has long rows of 60-foot trees planted with 5-foot spacing, a legacy of the Princeton Nurseries tree farm, which of course you're familiar with, that developed and shipped trees to the main streets of hundreds of cities and towns across the U.S. Those trees in that area that was the 200-foot buffer for under the Princeton plan were used by the nurseries as part of their breeding, grafting tree species that made them famous, and as such have historical value. We request that these 200-foot buffer zones be left natural and untouched, no clearing of that. The original Princeton development plan in force when we moved in did not have berms indicated in the residential buffer zones, although the preliminary plans that we have seen do show berms there, which would imply cutting of the historic trees and then placement of soil on top. Our neighbors are equally concerned over the redevelopment plan, but they were unable to rearrange their schedules to be heard tonight to speak for themselves. We know that for them, historic stands of trees like these should be retained all over the Princeton Nurseries development. For some of them, there are important concerns about increasing the flooding that they already experience from runoff onto their property from the site. When Princeton proposed developing the property WRV now owns, they hired the world-famous landscape architect Sasaki Associates to design a constructed wetland on the residential lot that is part of this site, using native plants and without a concrete retention basin. We respectfully request that for the current development, best management practices and state-of-the-art water management approaches be used, and not just the minimum that the law requires. As you know, climate change is increasing the challenge of water management in New Jersey. The lady who spoke just before me commented on that. And South Brunswick owes it to her residents to plan not just for this year's town management concerns, but for the years to come when we will all still be here, either suffering or benefiting from your decisions. Thank you for your attention, and we appreciate your attention to our
Thank you.
concerns.
Thank you.
As luck would have it, the fellow who honchos our redevelopment used to be our town manager when I think there's approvals on that property for distribution from once upon a time. Can you give some background, Matt? It's Matt Watkins. He does he administers redevelopment efforts in the town, and he used to be the town manager 100 million years ago when this first popped up, right?
Do I look that old, really?
Yeah, you do.
24 years.
Ow. Can I go home now? The changes that that we've heard about, the existing, what was done back then, the only issue that really would change what I think needs to be done there is the new stormwater management rules that are now in place that supersede anything that we did before. I think that's the concern. I know that the questions of the preservations and the berms and stuff like that have been brought up. We met with community twice, and those concerns have been expressed to the developer to make sure that the plan, that those concerns that the residents have raised are addressed in whatever they provide. So I think I understand that what the residents want there. We had a wonderful meeting. It was very informative, and the developer was there. So I think the developer is taking all that into consideration. Some of this stuff, some of the questions and issues raised have to be addressed at the site plan level, that is before the planning board. It's not part of a redevelopment plan per se. So the detail that we're hearing about, that were questioned even during the meeting tonight and before, are issues that are going to be addressed by the planning board when the issue comes up with the site plan. So I think the issues right now, the thing that changes from the time we bought this, or we acquired this 20 years ago, are the storm water retention issues that have to be addressed. And that is, as you well know, is a state law, and that we'll have to address. But I have passed along to the developer the concerns raised by the residents and insisting that they give some attention and give attention to that and do all they can to meet those requirements. And they said they are working on it.
Okay, thank you. And as regards specific questions by residents, you'd avail yourself to talk to folks on the phone through down at the Sacco's offices. So for specifics, to hash out the details, Call up Donna, she's not that brick wall, but she sits on the other side of it.
Poor Donna's gonna get hit.
Yeah, call Donna up and she'll broker phone time with Mr. Watkins.
Absolutely.
Next,
I just have one last question. The land that we just
There's one.
acquired, oh, go ahead.
this fellow here.
Hello there.
Good afternoon.
So, I'm Mark Smith. I live at 979 Ridge Road in Monmouth Junction in the town of South Brunswick. Our property adjoins the old Princeton Nurseries property that is the subject of this redevelopment proposal. Proposal for lot 99, and block 99, various lots. So we object to this proposal and have filed a lawsuit challenging the redevelopment designation under docket number MIDL 002965-24, filed in the Middlesex County. Our lawyer is prepared to serve that suit shortly. That complaint also names WRB Nurseries South Brunswick LLC, the owner of the property, as co-defendant, along with the township. We're objecting to this redevelopment designation and the redevelopment plan that is under consideration tonight because the site is capable of being developed under its existing zoning that allows for hotel, office, laboratory, light manufacturing, farming and residential uses, all of which can be economically and effectively used and exploited for this site. It can also be used for its traditional farming purposes and has been used for farming for at least the prior 10 years. There is no legal basis to redesignate this property for redevelopment. If this site is undeveloped, it is because it has been intentionally left undeveloped by its prior owner, Princeton University. Its current owner is seeking redevelopment designation and the redevelopment plan in order to evade current zoning that does not allow for the warehouse project that is proposed for this site. This warehouse project will be devastating for this site that is largely in a natural state after more than 100 years of farming and adjoins preserved natural areas and parkland. To allow for a warehouse development on this site by a redevelopment plan will evade the zoning code and will evade the need for a use variance hearing by the owner. A variance hearing is a difficult process, and if this redevelopment plan goes forward, both the zoning code, the burden of rezoning, and the burden of a variance will all be evaded by the township and the landowner. We object to this redevelopment plan as it is unnecessary and an evasion and abuse of the law to allow for a noxious warehouse project that will destroy this site, damage the local ecology, ruin the lifestyle of the many residences nearby, and severely burden this community. We will oppose this project. The redevelopment plan and request that any action on this property take place only through conventional rezoning or a use variance application by the owner. And that's all I've got to say for now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else from the public wishing to speak? Seeing no one, is there?
Oh,
I
I'm
just
sorry.
have one quick question. The land that you just purchased, that's over on Davidson Mills Road, what are you doing with that land? It's open space. Are you gonna, I was hoping you can farm or plant trees. It's over on Davidson Mill. It's for open space now.
I'm not aware of anything on Davidson Mill Road that we've
Recently,
that we've
Himmel
re-
Farm. That was years
There's a
ago.
big sign that says open space.
Yeah, that's the Himmel Farm, and then we have the Polta Farm
Right.
over there.
What are you all doing with that land for open space? How about building some more trees so we have more trees
Well, it's
for
under,
the
it's
animals?
under tillage,
There's nowhere for the animals to go.
as Mr. Spitz said. You know, it's a, maybe agriculture is a virtuous pursuit. It's under tillage. You'll see corn out there. You'll see soybean out there, et cetera, et cetera.
Because we still need trees for the animals. I mean, the deer have nowhere to go, and if you're doing this redevelopment, it's going to be a nightmare. You're going to have more dead deer on the road. You're going to have more dead
Well,
animals.
that's speculative, but
And that would be a really tragedy, because the animals have nowhere to go now. And there's coyotes walking around and
generally they're in my backyard in Brunswick Acres.
there you go.
No, that's just the way of the world. There's bear in North Brunswick.
They were here first.
And East Brunswick.
The animals were here first.
Before all of us.
Seeing no one else, is there a motion to close the public portion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries.
Good night. Good night.
Mayor, next on the agenda, then we have the minutes, and if there's no objection, we could take all three together. We have minutes from the regular meeting on Wednesday, April 17th, the executive session on May 1st, and the work session on May 1st. Is there a motion to accept those minutes? And you can
Motion
abstain.
made.
I'll second.
Oh, yeah, I had better. I was horizontal for that time.
Was there a motion?
Yeah.
Thank you. Mr. Cameron, a second?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. And a roll call. Mr. Bierman?
Yes.
Mr. Camerata?
Yes.
Ms. Grover?
Yes.
And Mr. Carly?
I abstained, and the reason I abstained is I missed a couple of meetings because at the time were serious health issues, but I thank everyone for their well wishes. So thank you to Norma. Thank you to you. But unfortunately, I'm relatively young, and unfortunately, I'm back. So that's the story.
Thank you, Mayor. We're glad you're back. We'll move on then next to reports, and we'll start with Mr. Bidlack.
Yeah, just a couple. This coming Saturday, June 15th, we will be holding for the spring, we'll be holding our last Veterans Street recognition naming ceremony. We will continue that up in the fall, but this one coming up on June 15th is a really interesting event that we have the 8 Scarrato brothers who all served in most of them served in World War II, but they also spanned through the Korean War. So this event's going to be held at the intersection of Kingston Lane and Stanley Avenue, and that'll be on June 15th. And I just wanted to mention that because I think this is really an interesting event that'll occur that day.
If I can add something real quick to that,
Go ahead.
Mr. Bidlack, I would like to see someone in Town Hall actually reach out to News 12. Maybe get them out there to do a
Yeah, we
little
can do
reporting
that.
on that. Because this is a positive thing. Their presence is still in South Brunswick, the Scarrato family. And if we could do that, that'd be wonderful. They're expecting a large turnout, too.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Thank you.
Yep.
Makes sense.
No. It certainly does.
Is that it, Brian?
There's a couple more things, Barbara. Yep. Just another general comment. I know, if everybody could please be aware of all the road construction that's going on all over town. Route 27 currently is being repaved from Cardinal Court in South Brunswick all the way up to Veronica Avenue, Franklin Township, and Howe Lane, New Brunswick. The township has several projects going on, and on New Road right now, there's one going on. And our DPW is also out there paving. So if everyone could please just follow the advice of the signage for the road construction, that's well appreciated. And then the last thing is the South Brunswick Curbside Brush Recycling Collection Program began this past Monday. This will take several weeks. Each street gets one pickup per season. All brush must be at the curb by 6:30 a.m. And additional information on all this is contained on our website. And that goes through all the accepted materials and the preparation instructions that folks need to follow. That's all I have. Thank you.
Mr. Womack?
I'll save everything I've got for closed session.
Thank you. I have just a brief report. As you all know, we had the primary election yesterday. It ran very smoothly, but I just want to say a big thank you to the clerk's office staff, because without, they make it run very seamless and make my job very easy, so I appreciate that. I wanted to publicly thank them. And also, with that, we're seeing that we're having a shortage on poll workers, so we're going to start a little advertising on our website, possibly on the sign, but if there's anyone out there that wants to work the polls, the pay is $300 for the day. It starts at about 5 a.m. and goes on until about 8 p.m. And on our website, there's an application. They can also contact our office. So anyone that's interested in that, again, we don't need you until November, but, we're looking for anyone now so we can get that whole group ready. And that's my report.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Grover?
Thank you, Mayor. I don't have much to report as I've been away. And I attended a very good blue mass ceremony for our safety for our police officers and a police annual awards ceremony with Deputy Mayor Bierman and Councilman Camerata. And I also attended Veteran Recognition Street sign naming for Mr. Peter S. Bongiorno, if I'm pronouncing
That's
it
very
right.
good.
Yep.
Sound like
Thank you.
you're Italian. Are you Italian?
Yes. I look like one.
Only once it's known.
And that's all in my report, and it was very well attended. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Joe?
No report, just to echo Councilwoman Grover's report, because I was there. But no report, Mayor.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, real quick, I echo Councilwoman Grover's report. And we did also have a street dedication sign for Louis Ballesteri Sr., really like 3 weeks ago now. Councilman Camerata and I attended the Middlesex County 90th birthday, which we celebrate people who reached 90. And this year we had 3, and then they added the 4th.
Yeah, they had it last night.
Who are going to turn 100 this year, who still live in Middlesex County. So we
Right.
need to give them a round of applause,
Yes.
because to reach the milestone of a century is
we do.
incredible. And then we just had our Memorial Day services at the VFW and the American Legion, and they were very well attended. And I want to thank everybody for their support on Memorial Day. That's it, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. I have very little to report, as I related before, I've sort of been sidelined. But I do have to congratulate Councilwoman Grover. There was an election that was held yesterday. I don't think anyone stole the election, did they, Ann?
No,
But
thank you.
Ms. Grover had a strong and convincing victory, so she'll be with us for a piece longer,
Thank you. Thank you.
and we welcome that.
Thank you, everybody.
Madam Clerk?
Thank you, Mayor. Next on the agenda, we have ordinances for first reading. We have 2 ordinances here tonight. The first one is number 2024-12, and that's approving the application for long-term tax exemption and authorizing the execution of a financial agreement with 4112 to 4126 U.S. Route 1 Urban Renewal LLC concerning the property known as Block 84, Lot 4.05. Is there a motion to introduce ordinance number 2024-12?
Yes, let's move it forward, please.
We have a motion by Mr. Camerata, second by Ms. Grover, and a roll call. Mr. Bierman?
Yes.
Mr. Camerata?
Yes.
Ms. Grover?
Yes.
And Mr. Carley?
Yes.
Thank you. The second ordinance here for first reading is number 2024-13. This is amending Chapter 118, Vegetation, Article 4, Trees of the South Brunswick Township Code regarding tree removal regulations. Is there a motion to introduce ordinance number 2024-13?
Motion to introduce.
Yeah, I'll second. This is housekeeping. This is mandated by the state.
And a roll call. Mr. Bierman?
Yes.
Mr. Camerata?
Yes.
Ms. Grover?
Yes.
And Mr. Carley?
Yes.
Thank you. Mayor, next on the agenda, we have 2 ordinances here for public hearing and final adoption. The first one is ordinance number 2024-10. This is amending Chapter 22 of the South Brunswick Township Code regarding lead-based paint inspections. Is there a motion to open to the public on ordinance number 2024-10?
Yes, so moved.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone from the public wishing to speak on ordinance number 2024-10?
Seeing none, motion to close the public session.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Is there a motion then to finally adopt ordinance number 2024-10?
Motion to adopt.
Second.
And a roll call. Mr. Bierman?
Yes.
Mr. Camerata?
Yes.
Ms. Grover?
Yes.
And Mr. Carley?
Yeah, and for the edification of the public, it seems like we're just burning through these ordinances, but this is the second or third time they've been at a public meeting. First, they go to a work session, we argue with each other, and then if they pass muster, they come to the regular
We
meeting,
normally do.
by which time we've spent ourselves. And so I say that as preamble because it seems like we're going fast, but we're not. So I say I vote yes.
Thank you, Mayor. Our second ordinance here for a second reading and final adoption is number 2024-11. This is adopting the AST redevelopment plan for 4315 US Route 1, Campus Drive, which is Block 98, lots 2.013 and 2.02. Is there a motion to open to the public on ordinance number 2024-11?
Motion made.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Is there anyone from the public wishing to speak on ordinance number 2024-11?
Seeing none, motion to close. That's part of this public session.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Is there a motion then to finally adopt ordinance number 2024-11?
Motion to adopt.
Second.
And a roll call. Mr. Bierman?
Yes.
Mr. Camerata?
Yes.
Ms. Grover?
Yes.
And Mr. Carley?
Yes.
Thank you, Mayor. Next on the agenda, we have items number 1 through 26. Just bear with me one moment. I think there are 2 items to be pulled. Yes. We had a request this afternoon by our health officer, Mr. Jones, to pull items number 20 and 21, and we can bring them back when they're ready. He had some issues with the agreements on those. If there's no objection, we'll pull those 2. And then if there's anything else anyone would like pulled.
Madam Clerk, yes, I'd be, as our tradition is, could you please pull 4, 7, and 12?
4, 7, and 12.
Recognizing individuals and their retirements. Oh, no, that's just one of them. The other 2 are the, as in our reports, the street recognitions.
Okay. If there's nothing else then, we'll have a motion then to adopt on the consent agenda numbers 1 through 3, 5 and 6, 7 through 11, 13 through 19, and 22 through 26.
Actually,
Just, it's 8 through 11. 7 is being,
I'm sorry, did I say 7?
Yes.
I apologize.
That's
We'll-
all right.
It's 8 to 11, thank you.
I'll move those forward.
I'll second.
Motion is second, and a roll call. Mr. Bierman?
Yes.
Mr. Camerata?
Yes.
Ms. Grover?
Yes.
And Mr. Carley?
Yes.
Thank you, Mayor. Now we'll go back to the individual items. We'll go to the first one, which is number 4, and this is wishing public safety telecommunicator Robert Carinci success in his retirement.
If you mind, I'll read that one.
No.
Yeah,
Read
okay.
away.
Wishing public safety telecommunicator Robert Karinsky success in his retirement, whereas public safety telecommunicator Robert Karinsky is employed by the South Brunswick Township Police Department, and whereas Robert Karinsky will be and has retired on May 31st, 2024, after more than 33 years of dedicated service to the community and residents of South Brunswick, and whereas Robert Karinsky is a very knowledgeable and experienced in the areas which he is responsible and dedicated his career to, serving the public, and served as a police captain from August 1990 to May of 2013. In May of 2014, he became the PST supervisor and managed the center with distinction and excellence. In 2023, he received a citation from the New Jersey Assembly and Senate for achieving accreditation of the dispatch center. Whereas Robert Karinsky will be missed for his abilities, knowledge, and professionalism during his more than 33 years of service in South Brunswick Township. He served most recently as the PST supervisor for the department's communications center. And whereas the mayor and council would like to thank Robert Karinsky for his dedicated service to South Brunswick Township. Now therefore be it resolved on this day, the 5th day of June 2024, yes, it is the 5th day, okay, by the Township Council of Township of South Brunswick, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, that we extend to Robert Karinsky the Township's best wishes for health, happiness, and success in his future endeavors.
Thank you. Is there a motion then to adopt that resolution?
Yes.
Second.
And a roll call. Mr. Bierman?
Yes.
Mr. Camerata?
Yes.
Ms. Grover?
Yep.
And Mr. Carley?
Only on condition that Chief Paducah back there can promise me that this is the very last time that we'll have to vote on a resolution congratulating Bayonne Bob on retirement.
It's been done twice, as the mayor said.
I was actually going to interject that. There's the second retirement, but you guys got it.
Okay.
I vote yes. And
Thank you.
congratulations, Bob, and we wish you well and your future endeavors. Hopefully they go beyond the walls of Dean's Garage.
Thank you, Mayor. So we'll move on next to the next resolution that was pulled, which is number 7. This is recognizing Louis Balistrieri Sr. for his service to our country, ensuring freedom for all.
I'll take that.
Go ahead. You're up.
Thank you. Recognizing Louis Balistrieri Sr.
Balistieri.
How do you say?
Balistieri.
Balistrieri Sr. for his service to our country, ensuring freedom for all. Whereas the Township of South Brunswick Veterans Street Sign Program allows Township residents who were wartime veterans to be recognized by adding their names on a secondary street sign to an existing municipal road. And whereas by adding names of local wartime veterans to public street signs, we hope to promise public awareness of these individuals and show our appreciation for their outstanding contributions and service to our country as a member of the United States Armed Forces. And whereas eligible military candidates for for this honor include honorably discharged veteran having served in military departments as defined under Department of Defense, which includes Department of the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine Corps, and the Coast Guard. And whereas wartime veterans are individuals who served in the active military forces during a period of armed conflict or who received the armed forces expeditionary or other campaign service medals during an emergency condition, including those who died in the line of duty in the active military forces. And whereas Louis Balistrieri Sr. has been selected to be recognized in the Veteran Street Sign Program. And whereas Louis Balistrieri Sr. was born in Princeton, New Jersey on April 9, 1947, and resided in Kendall Park, New Jersey. And whereas Louis Balistrieri Sr. enlisted into the United States Armed Forces, Air Force during the Vietnam War on August 5, 1966. He served as a sergeant in the 29th Attack Squadron. While assigned in the Philippines, he volunteered countless hours coaching youth basketball, built a basketball court for the children, and was given a key to the city. And whereas Louis Balistrieri Sr. served in the United States Air Force until the honorable discharge on August 4, 1972, with outstanding leadership and courage, receiving the National Defense Service Medal, NDSM, and the Armed Forces Medal 900-3, Republic of Vietnam Campaign Medal. Now therefore we, the Mayor, the Township Council of South Brunswick, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, do hereby recognize Louis Balistrieri Sr. for his distinguished service to our country, ensuring freedom for all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there a motion then to adopt that resolution?
Motion to adopt.
A second.
And a roll call. Mr. Bierman?
Yes.
Mr. Camerata?
Yes.
Ms. Grover?
Yes.
And Mr. Carley?
Yes.
Thank you, Mayor. We'll move on to the third resolution pulled, and that's number 12. This is a resolution recognizing Peter S. Bongiorno for his service to our country, ensuring freedom for all.
I'll take it, but before I take it, I just want to make a comment. Tomorrow is a very grand anniversary in our country. It's the 80th anniversary of D-Day, June 6th. And reading all these recommendations and honorees and acclamations, it just, we need to pause and just think about that. Because there's a good chance none of us would be here if that didn't happen that day. But with that said, recognizing Peter S. Bongiorno for his service to our country, ensuring freedom for all. Whereas the Township of South Brunswick Veteran Street Sign Program allows township residents who are wartime veterans to be recognized by adding their name on a secondary street sign in existing municipal road. And whereas adding names of local wartime veterans to public street signs, we hope to promote public awareness of these individuals and show our appreciation for their outstanding contributions and service to our country as a member of the United States Armed Forces. And whereas the eligible military candidates for this honor include honorably discharged veterans having served in the military departments as defined under Department of Defense, which includes Department of the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine Corps, and the Coast Guard. And whereas wartime veterans are individuals who served in the active military forces during a period of armed conflict or who received the Armed Forces Expeditionary, now you got me not saying it right, or other campaign service medals during an emergency condition, including those who died in the line of duty in the active military forces. And whereas Peter Bonjoro has been selected to be recognized in this Veteran Street program, and whereas Peter Bonjoro was born in Italy on October 16, 1925, and resided in New Brunswick, New Jersey, before moving to Kendall Park, New Jersey. And whereas Peter Bonjoro enlisted into the United States Army during World War II on February 8, 1944. He was part of the 5th Infantry Anti-Tank Gun Crew, firing of tank weapons during combat. He was in the Central Europe Rhineland battle in Germany and France. And whereas Peter Bonjoro served in the United States Army until his honorable discharge on May 4, 1946, with outstanding leadership and courage, receiving the EAME Campaign Medal, Good Conduct Medal, World War II Victory Medal, and Combat Infantry Badge. Now therefore we, the Mayor and Township Council of South Brunswick, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, do hereby recognize Peter S. Bonjoro for his distinguished service to our country, ensuring freedom for all. A motion to move that forward, please.
Second.
And a roll call. Mr. Bierman?
Yes.
Mr. Camerata?
Yes.
Ms. Grover?
Yes.
And Mr. Cartley?
Yes.
Thank you, Mayor. Next on the agenda, then, we have our second address from the floor. Is there a motion to open to the public?
I'll make that motion.
Second?
And all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Is there anyone from the public wishing to speak? Seeing none, is there a motion to close?
Motion to close, please.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Mayor, next on the agenda, we have the voucher list of May 15th, 2024, now June 5th. Is there a motion to accept that voucher list?
Motion to pay the bills.
I'll second.
And a roll call. Mr. Bierman?
Yes.
Mr. Camerata?
Yes.
Ms. Grover?
Yes.
And Mr. Cartley?
Yes.
Thank
I'll
you.
ask a favor and an opinion of Mr. Womack and Ms. Naitre. Would we be killing babies if we moved the executive session to the work session so we can do work session in full view of the public?
I don't think it's a problem. I think the closed session is done for June 5th, which it is still June 5th. So I don't, unless, Mr. Womack, if you have an objection to it.
No, I don't
Yeah,
think,
because the closed session seems a little chewy,
Right.
and I'd hate to say, all right, leave the room for an hour or so.
no.
I'm assuming you have things to do.
Everything is noticed, so
Okay.
you run the meeting,
So we're
do it
gonna
how you
kick
like.
that to after the work session.
Sure.
The closed session, and we'll plow right into the work session.
Sounds good. So that will essentially adjourn the regular meeting then. We'll move right into the work session. That is how the meeting was noticed, so there's no problem with that. Let me just get my agenda here.
Do you need a motion to support that?
I'm sorry?
You need a motion to support that.
Sure. Let's
Motion
take
to close the regular session meeting of May 15th and go right into the work session of today, June 5th.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. And that's 6:45. Okay, so now we'll go into the work session meeting. We can move right on to the public portion there. I know we just had one, but it is on the
Motion to open
agenda.
to- Motion to open to the...
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Is there anyone from the public wishing to speak now during the public portion of the work session? Seeing no one, is there a motion to close?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Okay, now we'll get to the business on the work session. The first item under discussions is an ordinance which is adopting the redevelopment plan, Block 99, lots 3.213, 8.041, and 14.04 for 119 Mapleton Road, 987 to 1001 Ridge Road, and 4405 US Route 1, and 4405 US Route 1, sorry, that was a duplicate. Block 99, lots 3.213. This is all duplicate. Okay, sorry, it was just written twice. That's the ordinance, and it's here for discussion.
Who's taking the lead on that?
On the,
What's that?
The discussion. for the-
Discussion.
You guys, you know, what's your temperature?
I like the idea of the area need redevelopment for this block and lot, particularly because if we do an area need redevelopment, we need to go on the record. The township has a lot more control of what the redevelopment plan will look like, not just planning board control. We will actually guide and steer that redevelopment plan, and I like that idea.
And that speaks to how critical it is for Mr. Smith and you all up on Ridge Road to be in contact with Mr. Watkins. Because if you feel that the trees within that buffer should be preserved, he'd be the agent for that. So avail yourself of Mrs. Basanto, and Matt's from Oklahoma. They're plain-faced over there.
And the only thing I'm going to add is that this is discussion. So it's still going to, 2 weeks from now, we'll go on the regular meeting for first reading, and then 2 weeks after that, second reading. And like we said at the meeting that day, you will have your voice, and you will go during the public hearings. But as the mayor said, you'll also be in contact with Matt directly. It's been very clear that you want to keep those pristine trees there as much as possible. The developers know that. We're all going to be on him to try to keep that. So that's, with that said, I think, again, as the deputy mayor said, I think this is a good thing for the township to move forward. So I do support it at this point on the caveat and condition that, we have your input as we move forward.
And I can aver that Councilman Camerata has always been faithful as it comes to the Kingston Village Advisory Commission. Sometimes, in my opinion, to a fault. But he always has been a steadfast advocate for that part of the town. So between Mr. Watkins and Mr. Camerata, I think you might end up with a solution that is agreeable to you.
Thank you, Mayor. So if I hear correctly, we'll move that on for introduction at the next regular meeting. And then we can move on to discussion item number 2, which is reappropriation of recreational facilities.
I can explain that one, Mayor, real quick. As is contained in your agenda, the rec director has asked me to reappropriate 2 facilities in the township that are underutilized ball fields at this time. The first ball field is located in Scenic Park here in the Summerfield development, and the idea would be to repurpose the ball field from a hard ball field to a cricket field. Likewise, the same request is for the repurposing of a ball field in Sondeck Park. This one would be the first ballpark in Sondeck as you're going through the drive entrance from New Road. It'd be the first field on the right. And that also, the request from the rec director would be to repurpose that to a cricket field as well. And there is a memorandum in your pack, in your folders that explains the reasons for these requests. And I just wanted to bring this to council to have a quick discussion, get your thoughts.
So, if I can start, I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor.
No.
I do believe there is a need for cricket fields, especially with the World Cup of cricket going on right now in New York. All right, this is all understood. My only concern is the field on Sondeck Park. Are we going to be having cricket?
We promised on that now.
I know that. We promised that. But anyway, if we do change it, if we do put a cricket field there, would we be having cricket balls going onto East New Road? I mean, that's pretty close to the road, and I believe that those balls go all different directions. I don't watch cricket
They do.
on a
No, they
daily.
do.
I would ask Mr.
know.
Smith, because he sounds like a fellow who's from a place out there
You know.
with cricket and rugby.
Right. I just don't know if that fits that specific location on Sondeck Park. That's my concern there.
Yeah, I agree that scenic is fine.
Yeah, 100%.
But Sondeck does concern me, how you align the pitch and where the, so close to the road.
The only thing I get concerned about is you're only as good as your word, and at the tail end of last year, PAL was here, and they said that they wanted to grow the girls softball
Yes,
program and make that their home base, as it were. So I'd like to honor that contract.
Right. So I think what you're hearing is we're good with
Yeah,
scenic, not good with Sondeck.
Scenic, we're okay with. Let's
Scenic,
pause-
I think we
let's
need to
pause
move
on
forward
Sondeck.
quickly, yeah.
And we already have 3 of them in town, right?
We do have 3 field, we do have,
Tall timbers.
Tall
and,
timbers,
yeah.
yep.
Tall
Yeah,
timbers.
yeah.
Right, and that's
That's
just
been there
all
since day
cricket,
one.
tall
Yeah,
timbers.
yeah.
You know what, though, but if I gauge the kids in the street in front of my house and play with tennis balls,
They will.
that's the way the world's going.
No, the recreation department has realized that, and they're just trying to solve that concern, but
Correct.
this isn't the right application, Sondeck.
Right.
okay, we'll move forward in that
Thank you.
fashion.
Thank you, Brian.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Mayor, we'll move on then to discussion item number 3, and that is regarding the senior center canopy contract amendment.
I'll take this one as well, Mayor. If council will recall, we had appropriated money for a canopy at the senior center, but last year in the capital budgets, we awarded a contract. The original contract did not include engineering design. There is an amendment in front of council tonight, and this is all described in a letter from Mr. Capisano, our architect, to me, explaining why we need to make this amendment to the contract. Just for edification, that we do have the monies available, and the addition of with this amendment, it would still be the lowest quote it would still be lower than any other quote we got for the job to complete the job there. So the recommendation is to move this amendment forward.
I'm good.
I'm good.
It'll make a lot of people happy,
Yes.
a lot of seniors happy.
Great, we'll move that forward then. Next on the agenda, we have the manager's report. Do you have anything further?
I'm going to pass on that, given
Nothing in a half hour in between your other report?
we'll pass on that this evening.
Okay, great. So we'll move on then to the consent agenda, and there are 11 items. These items are here if anyone would like to discuss one. If not, and there's no objection, we can just move them all forward to the next meeting for action.
What's our temperature looking like?
I'm good with that.
Number
Okay.
10, I want.
Number 10?
Number 10?
Yeah, please.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So we'll move everything else forward then to the next regular meeting, and Ms. Grover would like to discuss item number 10. This is a resolution accepting the resignation of Liz Nolly Tillman from the Commission on Women.
I'll take that one. I just wanted to thank Liz, Miss Liz Tillman, for her services to our commission. She was not happy to resign because, but she had to because she moved to Monroe Township.
4.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, yeah. Why I said 3, I'm looking.
You did a great job, Liz. We really miss you. And I want you to come back to South Brunswick, find something, and come back and start our Women Commission again. I thank you for your services, your time, and everything. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Grover. Mayor, before we move on to items for action, we do have an added as timely and important, and it would be appropriate to add that here before we get to the resolutions. So if we can have a motion then to add a resolution recognizing June as Pride Month.
I'll take that.
Well, you want to move it forward.
I want to move it forward.
Is there a second?
Second.
and Mr. Camerata to add that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. So next then, we have the items for action under resolutions. We had 1 through 7. We'll make that 1 through 8 now with the added resolution. Is there any item anyone would like to pull? Or if not, we can have a motion to adopt them all.
Yeah.
Hey, you wanna pull
So
number
can I, can we pull number 4, 6,
7, 8.
7, and 8, please?
Okay.
Thank you.
So then if we could have a motion to adopt resolutions, items number 1 through 3 and number 5.
Yes. I'll move
I'll
that
make-
forward. I'll second it, whatever.
Mr. Bierman and Mr. Camerata, and a roll call, Mr. Bierman?
Yes.
Mr. Camerata?
Yes.
Ms. Grover?
Yes.
And Mr. Carley?
Yes.
Thank you, Mayor. So then the first pulled item is number 4. This is a resolution recognizing Anthony, Salvatore, Joseph, Donald, Thomas, Louis, Blase, and
Blaze.
I'm so
Blaze.
sorry. Okay.
The candles are on there.
Okay. Blaze and Frank Scarrato for their service to our country, ensuring freedom for all.
Yeah, I'll take that, Madam Clerk, if I can. I just would like to read the resolution, because this is a family that sent everyone, every boy in their family, to fight in World War II, and they all came back.
And
God bless them.
Thank God.
In Korea, yes. So whereas the Township of South Brunswick's Veteran Street Sign Program allows Township residents who were wartime veterans to be recognized by adding their name on a secondary street sign to an existing municipal road. And whereas by adding names of local wartime veterans to public street signs, we hope to promote public awareness of these individuals and show our appreciation for their outstanding contributions and service to our country as a member of the United States Armed Forces. Whereas eligible military candidates for this honor include honorably discharged veterans, having served in the military departments as defined under the Department of Defense, which include departments of the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine Corps, and Coast Guard. And whereas wartime veterans are individuals who served in the active military forces during a period of armed conflict, or who received Armed Force Expeditionary or other campaign service medals during an emergency condition, including those who died in the line of duty in the active military forces. And whereas the 8 sons of Luigi and Santola Scarrato, having served in the military between 1941 and 1955, have all been selected to be recognized in the Veteran Street Sign Program. And whereas Anthony, Salvatore, Joseph, Donald, Thomas, Louis, Blaze, and Frank Scarrato were lifelong residents of South Brunswick. And whereas Anthony Scarrato was born on July 12, 1919, he enlisted into the United States Army during World War II on January 6, 1941. He was a construction machine operator for Company A of the 711 Railway Operations Battalion, stationed in the Middle East until his honorable discharge on October 10, 1945, with outstanding leadership and courage, receiving the lapel button and Army service ribbon. And whereas Salvatore Scarrato was born on April 19, 1917, he enlisted in the United States Army during World War II on July 17, 1941. He trained at Camp Davis, North Carolina, the first Army anti-aircraft artillery training base in the country. He served overseas 3 years and 3 months in Hawaii and the Marshall Islands. He achieved the rank of corporal. He was honorably discharged on August 12, 1945, with outstanding leadership and courage, receiving the American Defense Service Medal, the Atlantic Pacific Campaign Medal, the Army Good Conduct Medal, and the 753rd AAA Gun Battalion Medal. And whereas Joseph Scarrato was born on January 20th, 1922, he enlisted into the United States Navy on November of 1942 during World War II. Joseph began his training at Sampson Naval Training Station in New York State. He was stationed abroad, the U.S. Moffett, a destroyer doing patrol duty in the South Atlantic and in the Mediterranean Sea until the ship was decommissioned in February of 1946. He was a motor mechanic, second class, and was discharged and returned home following the decommissioning of the ship. And whereas Donald Scarrato was born November 1st, 1920, he enlisted into the United States Army in May of 1943 during World War II. Donald served as a medical corps until 1946. He worked in hospitals in Utica, New York, and on Long Island. He worked mainly in neurotics and accompanied wounded veterans to hospitals all over the United States. He was honorably discharged with a rating of Staff Sergeant. And whereas Thomas Scarrato was born on June 26, 1925, he enlisted into the United States Army during World War II on September 24, 1943. He went to Europe, assigned to the 762nd Field Artillery Battalion, and received 3 battle stars for combat service in the Ardennes, Central Europe, and Rhineland campaigns. He served until his honorable discharge with a rank of corporal on April 20, 1946, with outstanding leadership and courage, receiving the American Campaign Medal, the Army Good Conduct Medal, and the World War II Victory Medal. And whereas Louis Scarrato was born on October 1st, 1926, and was a lifelong resident of Monmouth Junction, he enlisted into the United States Marines during World War II on January 26, 1945. He trained at Parris Island, South Carolina, and sent to the Hawaiian Islands and Guam. He was a member of the military police, receiving the Rifle Marksmanship badge. He served until his honorable discharge with outstanding leadership and courage as Private First Class on August 28, 1946. And whereas Blaise Scarrato was born March 23, 1929, and enlisted into the United States Army during the Korean War of February 20, 1951. He served 6 months in Japan as part of the 136th Infantry Heavy Mortar Company and until his honorable discharge with outstanding leadership and courage as Private First Class on January 27, 1953. And whereas Frank Scarrato was born September 5, 1931, and enlisted into the United States Navy during the Korean War in May of 1951. He was stationed on the USS Wright, making several trips to Europe before being transferred to the Pacific. Frank was honorably discharged with outstanding leadership and courage on March 11, 1955, receiving the Korean Service Medal and the National Defense Medal and the United States Service Medal. Now, therefore, we, the Mayor and Township Council of South Brunswick, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, do hereby recognize Anthony, Salvatore, Joseph, Donald, Thomas, Louis, Blaise, and Frank Scarrato for their distinguished service to our country, ensuring freedom for all. We should really, I had their parents on there too, because if as a parent, if you sent 8 sons off to war at one time, you have to be pulling your hair out. With no communications like we have today, I tell you, this is just amazing. And you know, Mr. Bidlack, I really would like to see News 12 there to get you a couple of quotes from the family members that are coming in, because I hear they're coming in from all over for this. So with that, I would like to move it forward.
I gladly will second that.
And a roll call, Mr. Bierman?
Yes.
Mr. Camerata?
Yes.
Ms. Grover?
Yes.
And Mr. Cartley?
Yes.
Thank you, Mayor. The next resolution we have tonight is number 6, and this is wishing Al Nardi success in his retirement.
I'll take that one, please. Wishing Al Nardi success in his retirement, whereas Al Nardi is employed by South Brunswick Township's Police Department as transportation supervisor. Whereas Al Nardi will be retiring on June 30th, 2024, after more than 11 years of dedicated service to the community and residents of South Brunswick. And whereas Al Nardi is very knowledgeable and experienced in the areas for which he is responsible and dedicated his career to serving the public. Whereas Al Nardi served the department most recently as a transportation supervisor in the Community Services Division and previously served in our Public Works Department. Whereas Al Nardi will be missed for his abilities, knowledge, and professionalism during his 11 years of service to South Brunswick Township. And whereas the Mayor and Council would like to thank Al Nardi for his dedicated service to South Brunswick Township. Now therefore, be it resolved, on this day, the 5th day of June of 2024, by the Township, Council of the Township of South Brunswick, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, that we extend to Al Nardi the Township's best wishes for health, happiness, and success in all his future endeavors. And a motion to move that forward, please.
I'll second.
And a roll call, Mr. Bierman?
Yes.
Mr. Camerata?
Yes.
Ms. Grover?
Yes.
And Mr. Cartley?
Yes.
Thank you, Mayor. The next resolution we have is number 7. This is wishing Lieutenant Tara Giardulo success in her retirement.
Yeah, I'll take that, Madam Clerk. Thank you. Whereas Lieutenant Tara Giardulo is employed by the South Brunswick Township Police Department, and whereas Lieutenant Tara Giardulo will be retiring on July 1st, 2024, after 27 years of dedicated service to the community and residents of South Brunswick. And whereas Lieutenant Tara Giardulo is very knowledgeable and experienced in the areas for which she's responsible and dedicated her career to serving the public. And whereas Lieutenant Tara Giardulo will be missed for her abilities, knowledge, and professionalism during the 27 years of service to South Brunswick Township. She served most recently as Lieutenant of the Community Service Division in charge of our school's SROs, and previously as Sergeant in the same division. She holds a Master's in Education from Seton Hall University. During her career, Lieutenant Tara Giardulo received numerous commendations and awards, including the Top Gun Marksman, Sharpshooter, Firearms Expert Award, to name a few. She was on the Domestic Violence Response Team in Operation Safe Schools and received numerous letters of commendation from residents throughout her career. Whereas the Mayor and Council would like to thank Lieutenant Tara Giardulo for her dedicated service to South Brunswick Township. Now therefore be it resolved on the 5th day of June in 2024 by the Township Council, the Township of South Brunswick, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, that we extend to Lieutenant Tara Giardulo the Township's best wishes for health, happiness, and success in her future endeavors. And I just want to say on a personal note, I've known Tara since she came on the force for 27 years. She was an exceptional officer, exceptional person. I sincerely wish her the best. With that, I will push this forward. Thank you.
And Chief, isn't she the longest-serving female officer?
Yes.
That's what I thought. No one even close, right?
No.
No, okay. No.
Our second.
I think, yeah, I don't think she was the first, she was the second, but I know she's the longest-serving. That's wonderful. Anyway, you got
I'll
a
second
person.
it with the,
Great, so we have a motion, a second, and a roll call. Mr. Bierman?
Yes.
Mr. Camerata?
Yes.
Ms. Grover?
yes.
And Mr. Carly?
Yes.
Thank you, Mayor. And our final resolution here tonight is number 8, and this is recognizing June as Pride Month.
I'll take that one. Thank you. Recognizing June as Pride Month. Whereas the Township of South Brunswick recognizes and proclaims the month of June as lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer LGBTQ Pride Month throughout the Township of South Brunswick. And whereas all human beings are born free in dignity and rights, LGBTQ individuals have had immeasurable impact to the cultural, civic, and economic success of our country. And whereas the Township of South Brunswick is committed to supporting visibility, dignity, and equality for LGBTQ people in our diverse community. And whereas while society at large increasingly supports LGBTQ equality, it is essential to acknowledge that the need for education and awareness remains vital to end discrimination and prejudice. And whereas this nation was founded on the principle that every individual has infinity, dignity, and worth, and the Township Council calls upon the people of this municipality to embrace this principle and work to eliminate prejudice everywhere it exists. And whereas celebrating Pride Month influences awareness and provides support and advocacy to the South Brunswick Township LGBTQ community, and it is an opportunity to take action and engage in dialogue to strengthen alliances, build acceptance, and advance equal rights. Now therefore be it resolved that on June 5th, 2024, the Township Council of the Township of South Brunswick do hereby recognize the month of June as Pride Month in support of the LGBTQ community. And I'll move forward.
I'll second it.
We have a motion, a second, and a roll call. Mr. Bierman?
Yes.
Mr. Camerata?
Yes.
Ms. Grover?
Yes.
And Mr. Carly?
Yes.
Thank you, Mayor. So it looks like we're at the end of the meeting. We're at the executive session at this point. We have moved the 4 items from the regular meeting onto this meeting. So if we can have a joint motion to go into executive session and then to adjourn immediately thereafter.
Yeah, I'll make that motion. That we end, we,
Ann wanted to do it.
oh, go ahead.
I'm done, Ann.
I have a motion. Is there a second?
Sorry.
I'll second.
Second.
I didn't know you wanted to do it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries.
Sorry.
We'll say goodnight to everyone.
Good night.
Good night.